Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
The silence of time bullets, behind Suga's silence and secret state duty. Hello, Army. Today, we're not just reading the news, we're breaking through the fog. Sit back, calm your hearts, because the story we're about to dig into isn't just about military service. This is a story about a man named Min Yoongi, about a silence that echoes louder than the cheers on stage, and about a country that hides something behind its barracks of clothes. The past few days, the world has been in an uproar. News headlines exploded like firecrackers in the night sky. Suga is discharged from public military duty. But who believes the first voice? In a world full of drama, the truth doesn't always sit at the forefront. Ruins of rumors, when rumors become walls. Armies are shaking, not because they're afraid, but because they don't know. Suga, who had been serving in the public service route since the beginning because of a shoulder injury he suffered in the past, was suddenly said to be missing from duty. Some say, due to a medical condition. Some say, because of the threat to his safety. But none of them looked him in the eyes of a man carrying the burden of a nation and a secret at the same time. The country is silent, the world is asking. The South Korean military was silent. Not even big-hit music uttered a single line of explanation. Only vague sentences trickled through the media. Some adjustments have been made regarding Suga's service. We cannot reveal details at this time. And that's where the mystery was born. Not from confirmation, but from silence. When no one tells the truth, every whisper becomes an alternative truth. Secret stage, Suga isn't leaving, he's being transferred. After days of simmering, the military finally appeared before the cameras, and the world held its breath. In a low but firm voice, a spokesperson said, "Suga is not being discharged. He is simply being transferred temporarily to a military role that we cannot explain." And just like that, 1,000 questions exploded like fireworks in the chests of Army. Transferred to where? For what? Why the secret? But amidst all the doubts, one thing was for sure, he had not given up. He's still in the field, though not in the visible way. Once a broken shoulder, now holding back the nation. The move was no small decision. According to inside sources, the shift was a covert operation. Something that couldn't be explained publicly. But one line from a military source stuck. This isn't just about protecting Suga as a celebrity. This is about national security. We're not playing around. They didn't say what the threat was. But leaked rumors suggest there's an organized pattern that's been lurking for a long time. A shadow that stalks big names. One that's not afraid of the camera but afraid of losing them. Army, the uniformless army. From New York to Busan, armies have spoken out. Some are holding back tears, others are trying to piece together logic. We don't know exactly what's going on. But if it's for Yoongi's safety, we'll stay. Quiet. But not leaving. An army from Texas. Others dug deeper, raising the issue of how South Korea's military service system handles high-profile figures. Should there be a special route? Or will it tarnish the principle of equality that has been maintained so far? The burden of a global star. Suga's case is not just about the military. It is about how the state treats star children who never had the choice to be ordinary. When the microphone is replaced by a gun, and the spotlight is replaced by a secret code, can they still be considered the same as others? Observers have begun to call for the formation of a special unit for public figures. Placement that is relevant to their cultural and intellectual influence. Strengthening the security of individuals with global status. Transparent public communication to avoid wild speculation. A silent step into a new field. What will happen next? No one knows for sure. Military experts estimate that his assignment could last anywhere from a few weeks to months. There will be no regular updates. There will be no photos in the barracks. Only the silence will be a reminder that Suga is still there, somewhere unseen. More than just a soldier. Suga is not just a soldier. He is a symbol of the times. He is a witness to how the world has changed, how an artist, a poet, can find himself in the middle of a geopolitical maelstrom, becoming a piece of a national puzzle. When steps no longer leave traces. Suga now walks an unpaved path, one not marked on regular military maps. No one knows what he is doing. Not his bandmates, not us armies. But perhaps that is how a man who carries the burden of the world's name should travel. In secret barracks far from the spotlight, he is no longer a rapper with a soul-rending voice, but a servant of the state who bears the burden of silence. His face that once appeared on the concert screen may now be covered by a steel helmet, or perhaps, even more silently, in a control room that only has the sound of typing in codes that the public cannot understand. A letter that was never sent. Imagine Suga sitting alone on a quiet night, accompanied only by the dim light of a lamp and the cold air of the mountains. Perhaps in moments like these he wrote a letter that was never sent. Army, I am here. I can't say much. But I hear you. I feel you. And in my silence I fight for something bigger than myself. I'm not running away. I'm just disguising myself. From microphone to tactical field, the transformation of a legend. This transformation is not about disappearing. It's about changing form. Like flowing water that adapts to space, Suga has also changed, not losing his identity, but adapting his soul to the terrain he now walks on. Many have asked, was he involved in a cybersecurity mission? Was he asked to advise military units on information security involving public figures? Or more extreme, was he part of a strategy exercise involving threats against national figures? Those questions are unanswered. But from there, the story grows from a dark space that has yet to be filled. The country, the artist, and the invisible wall. Perhaps it is time to ask not just what happened to Suga, but also what is happening to South Korea. When the country begins to think of new ways to treat pop stars as strategic elements, we are witnessing history in motion. And Suga is a pioneer. He is not just carrying out his duties but paving the way. He is a living precedent. The one who walks first, so that others will not be lost later. Behind the silence there is a new song. We know that Suga is an artist. Even in the midst of silence he may be writing, not a song that will be released tomorrow, but lyrics of life that will leave a mark decades later. Lyrics we can't hear but can feel. Lyrics that can't be performed on stage, but live on in the hearts of those who love them. Us, Army, and the unspoken promise. For us, this is more than just news. This is a test of loyalty. Not to BTS, but to an invisible but unshakable bond. To a love that doesn't depend on a comeback schedule, but is rooted in understanding. We may not know when Suga will appear in front of the camera again. But we do know one thing. He never really left. Respect amid uncertainty. When someone chooses to continue doing their duty amidst the possibility of being misunderstood, amidst the possibility of being accused of receiving special treatment, that's where true courage lies. And Suga, in all his modesty, chose to remain silent. But from his silence grew a respect that couldn't be bought. Conclusion, between the invisible lines. This isn't the end. This is just a break. Maybe someday, when all this is over, Suga will return, sitting in his old studio, setting up the mixer, touching the piano, and looking at us through the camera lens with a small, meaningful smile. And maybe one by one these stories will unravel in songs, in documentaries, in poems he recites in a low voice. And when that time comes, we will know that all this silence is the highest form of devotion. Army, stay here. Don't look away. Because even in absence, love still sings. And if one day you ask, what did Suga do while he was gone from the world? The answer is simple. He protected the world he loved in silence.
Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.